What kind of collaterals, which are marketing materials, do you have to convey number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5? How are you conveying it? Now, there are two different aspects to this. There's your marketing collaterals, and then your marketing channels. I actually listed some of the marketing collaterals there, and it's actually on the back if you turn it. Turn the back. Here's every marketing channel and marketing collateral that you could possibly want. It's a whole smorgasbord or a cheat sheet that I actively use literally every day of my life. And I stare at this every day of my life for clients, and it's a wonderful refresher for myself. It's really enjoyable, and there is a method to this madness. The top part here, are offline, meaning traditional. The bottom are online or web-based or internet-oriented. The left-hand side are the actual marketing channels, which we should spend a lot of time on as a marketing action plan. That's when it actually starts happening. The quicker you can get to activating these marketing channels, the better. However, we still need some marketing materials or collaterals, support materials, which are what the right-hand side is. Every marketing collateral you can imagine. The only marketing channel that's left off is street-based marketing, which would be the last S that would finish off Waters with 2 S's. Street-based marketing would be, for example, a street-based channel are curbs. So you have curb signage that landscapers, for example, use a lot. Curb signage. Roofers use curb signage. Real estate professionals use curb signage. Billboards are also curb signage. They just tend to be on parkways. Also on the street or on the road are cars. So then you have vehicle signage, vehicle wraps, etc. So there are a variety of other events that you can have on the street. A street-based event, usually we associate with guerrilla theater and guerrilla marketing, where we're literally taking it to the streets and kind of creating some type of theater that people can take a look at. So there are about 3-4 different ways we can use the street as a channel. And they're all still going to use the WATERS collaterals that are on the right-hand side. They're not a one-for-one. It's every collateral can be used with every channel. Just have to be creative. With creativity, based upon this sheet, and your discipline of creating marketing habits, you will achieve your results. It's that simple. This should be your master sheet. It's literally staring at this on and on and on, going, all right, what are we doing? What haven't you done? It's one of the quickest things I do with each of my prospective clients, even before they sign up with me, going, what have you tried? What are you against? What have you tried and it worked 2 months ago and it worked so well that you haven't done it again? And it's like, all right, why didn't you do it again? Oh, well, we got so busy. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. And you can kind of see here. Because ultimately it's being consistent with these marketing channels. With the marketing collaterals, you don't have to go that crazy. If you have the budget, it's always great to get something professionally designed and printed. It will take your marketing materials to that professional level that people respect. However, nowadays, with your computer, a color laser printer, and I suggest a color laser and not an inkjet, because inkjet, a little water comes on it and then the whole thing smears and you feel like an idiot. So don't go with an inkjet, go with a color laser. They're literally the same price, if not actually less expensive to go with the color laser in terms of ink cost. So between $300 to $1,000 to $3,000, depending on your quality, you can get a decent color laser printer and start printing on glossy paper and literally creating either trifold brochures or one sheets, etc. Furthermore, I personally suggest going with one sheets and putting into a folder as opposed to a trifold. Couple of reasons. Trifold, we always have to make sure it folds correctly, and if you don't do it right, it just looks bad. And from a design perspective, it's going to test your designing skills much more than a typical one sheet. If you imagine a letterhead and simple design, maybe a picture or two, you can make that look decent and semi-professional and still get your message across, and you're not winning a design contest, but you get your message across in a very illustrative way. Versus a trifold, unless you're really good with the design, it's going to look amateurish. And you don't want your marketing materials to be a representation of your service. And unfortunately, most people take it as a representation. So if your marketing materials kind of look shabby, for some reason they just assume that your service is going to be shabby. And we know that's not really true, but it's judging a book by its cover. Judging a person by the way he dresses. I mean, we do that all the time. We shouldn't, but we do. And that's the way the world works. So I suggest skipping the trifold and go with the single sheets. And I would highly suggest doing it on your own and trying it a little bit before having 5,000 printed. Because every one of us who has been in business has that magic corner where we have 5 or 10,000 old brochures that we're too embarrassed to use because either the price changed or we found a typo or we don't really do that anymore or we do this and we love this much more. So every one of us who have been in business for more than a year or two has a box of brochures that we don't really use, but one day we're going to use them. So skip that. Nowadays, you can experiment and you can do it well on your own, and then over a period of time, hire a professional. Definitely hire a professional when you can and when you can afford it. If you can do it right away, go for it. But more importantly, get your marketing message correctly. And the only way you're going to get that marketing message correct is by how? How are you going to get that marketing message correct? Testing it out with real people. Marketing is not done in a vacuum. It's not done. Here is not marketing. The only time you're marketing is maybe when you're talking to each other. Then you're networking and possibly going to be able to develop business relationships. But unless you're talking to other people, you're not marketing. A lot of people, especially folks that are introverted, who are very technical, very analytical, maybe shy, very intelligent very often. I see that as a pattern. So if you're too smart, be careful of this. You'll spend a lot of time working on your marketing materials because you have to get it right and you have to get it perfect and it just have to look exactly like this. Forget about it. Go with something, get it out there. That's how Microsoft took over the world. They created some type of product and they got it out there. And they said, all right, when we improve it, we'll send you the new discs or we'll just download it right to your computer. And now they got us all hooked to this Microsoft where they're constantly updating our machine. Right now, my computer's updating something. It's ridiculous. But, they're constantly improving and we'll constantly improve too. So get it out there. Yeah, we don't want it shabby or shoddy, but make sure it's just good enough and get it out there. The action actually happens in the marketing channels. Of course, when you're doing these marketing, go for it. Yeah, question.
The idea of what you just said,
yeah.
Not spend too much time kind of overthinking it. It's better to get it out there. How do you balance that with essentially what could become a misstep?
Excellent. Answer number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Answer those questions. If you're answering these questions, because most of these you can get in a vacuum. Number 2, absolutely. Number 3, you can pretty much suppose in a vacuum. Number 4, you need to start really talking to them. Especially number 5, now you really need to really test market your catchphrase. So if you can literally see from 2 to 5, it's gradually getting you to talk to more and more people. So it's not don't think and don't be strategic and don't plan. It's start small and start a pilot project and start seeing the fruits of that labor quicker than any time. Jeff?
Yeah, just to add something to that, you said earlier, and it's very, very true,
Yeah.
is don't try to market to everybody. And something from training and teaching in the financial services community, every one of us has a different personality, and every one of us says the same thing slightly different.
Correct.
And the first thing to really do is look inside who are your friends, because they're the ones who understand you. So
Right.
when you go out to market and you think that your audience is a specific group, think about it, you're going to relate to them, and that answers your question. How do you channel it down? Channel it down to those people who, when you're putting together your brochure or your marketing or your catchphrase, are the ones that are going to understand that language. And then you can broaden out from there through the testimonials, through what you've done for somebody else gave you something.
Yeah, if you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're going to end up being nothing to nobody. There's that cliche, which is not very grammatically correct, but makes sense. So from that aspect, don't try to be everything to everybody, and be more you than you've ever been. Cosmo Kramer said that to Jerry Seinfeld. You're more you than you've ever been. Just be more you than you've ever been. You don't have to try to be like anyone else. You don't have to try to relate to people that you can't relate to. Relate to who you relate to. And by you being authentic and relating to the people you relate to, the folks that kind of know you're not really a part of their community will be attracted to you because we know who you are. I mean, we see the presidential candidates making that misstep, kind of being somebody that they're not really. And it's like, we see that as being disingenuous, but when they are who they are, even if we're not like them, we go, you know what? At least they are who they are, and they know who they are, and we're now attracted because, you know what, they're true to who they are. And they're not like me, but they're not pretending to be like me, and that's okay, because no one wants a pretender. So don't, from that aspect, go within. Another quick way of knowing, are you overthinking and is it right? Does anyone have any 10-year-olds around them? Be it, 10 to 15-year-olds, younger the better, around 10. Grandkids or your kids or nephews or nieces. 10-year-olds are wonderful because they're almost like they're too candid and they say what's on their mind almost too much. And from a marketing aspect, it's perfect. So we want to get their opinion. We really do. If they can't